So personally, I think it's useful and make me more productive. So another thing is that we have those custom queries on the journals page. So we have the now and the later area, and we have the deadline and the scheduled area, which if you have a blog with a deadline, it will be displayed on that day. And we have the feature like publishing the whole web app to your own website. And some partners, we will work with some partners later to add the Logseq integration with their with their website. And personally, I'm really excited about that. So in the future, we'd like Logseq to be more stable and more performant. I certainly don't want to, when typing something, I want it to be fast, and I don't want to it suddenly, crash and breaks the writing. And yeah, or current undo and redo sucks, and and it will be improved after the refactoring, and we will make it. We'd like to store every change to the exit to the file. So yeah, we might bring undo tree support if you are familiar with Emacs or Vim. So we'd like to have end-to-end encryption storage, and we believe that that's the only way to provide our own storage, so that people can use Logseq more easily between multiple devices, because not everyone are familiar with Git. Yeah, and the mobile apps, we will add this later. And in the long-term goal, is to have the real-time collaboration too. And we'd like to work with the community to explore more ways to help for sorts. So for example, recently I love this new app called the Muse app very much. You can have a big workspace, and you can create a lot of cards, and you can draw PDF or draw something, and you can add annotations. And I think it's really it can be really free for sorts. And yeah, we will explore more ways to help that. Who knows? I don't know. I don't really know about what's the future for Logseq. We just want to make it better and better every day, and make it to be more helpful for everyone. So yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone for your time, and yeah, have a great weekend. And now I think maybe Jun can introduce us the new publishing feature a bit, and then we can start our QA. Okay, let's stop my sharing.
So my presentation is basically about the new publishing feature of Logseq, which just launched in the maybe 2 or 3 previous release. And first, we're gonna do a little demo of this new publishing feature. And right now, this is only for the desktop app. For specific pages, if you want to publish it, you have to first mark it as public, because we value privacy very much. By default, it's not public. So for this public page, I have already marked it as public. You can also mark it as private, so you will not be published. But let's make it public for now. And there are other pages that have been marked false, public false, and you will not be shown in the published graph. So when you have already marked all your pages for publish, you can click the top right menu and then click export. You can see right now we already have several choices for exporting. First is export public pages, which basically just export the whole Logseq and JavaScript application with the data you have selected. And the second choice is export as markdown. And the third is export as ADN, which is, the closure config format. For now, let's just export it as public pages. Let's create a new folder for it. So as the alert shows, Logseq has successfully published all the pages that are marked as public with the whole static assets, all the JavaScript, the style sheet, and other assets to this folder successfully. Let's go to that folder to check. It's in the desktop. Oh. There are some issues. So let's just move this folder from desktop to downloads. Yeah, you can see everything is here right now. To make sure that it's working, let's run a simple Python HTTP server on local host. So you can see that the server is running. Let's visit it in the browser. Yeah, all our pages that are marked as public are now shown in this localhost 8000 address. You can see only public ones are here, and the private ones are not here. Next, I'm going to do a demo of deploying your graph to the GitHub pages, because what it is the fun of just publishing your beautiful and fantastic graphs only to the local host. Right now, the publishing experience for different hosting platforms are very similar. So by showing how to deploy to the GitHub pages, I hope to demonstrate the general idea of publishing your Logseq graphs to different kind of hosting platforms. First, to publish to GitHub pages, you need to create a GitHub repository named specifically like this. First, your username, and then .github.io. Let's create. And next, we're gonna sync our local folder to the remote GitHub repository. It may take a few minutes because there are many assets. So now it's pushed to the repo. Let's go to the settings and search for GitHub pages. And you can see that by following the guides, we already successfully published to GitHub pages. Let's visit it. So it shows 404. Yeah, because it takes some time for GitHub pages to, deliver all your assets and then make it work by the public address. But we can do a little trick here. Let's just visit the index.html directly. Live demo, always something not as expected. Let's wait 1 more minute. Yeah, the JavaScript is loading here. We can definitely do a better job of keeping the size down of all the assets. Oh, I think the problem, yeah, it's working. Yeah, our graph is publicly online. You can see it works as exactly as on the local host. All our pages that are marked as public is online and is in read-only mode, so any edit will not be saved. You can share this to your friends and to the whole internet. Yeah, let's go back to our slides. What I just demonstrated is a current version of our publishing feature, but we have many future plans for it, just as Tencent has shared in his first presentation. First, we need to support more formats. Right now, we already support the EDN, Markdown, and Graph. But in the future, we might support more formats like plain files or maybe PDFs or ord-modes. Yeah. Second, we want to make the publishing experience as fluid and as enjoyable as possible. And right now, many cloud hosting platforms, like Versal or I can't remember the names, but many of the similar services, they provide one-click publishing. So we want to make it that in Logseq, you just click one button and your graph is online. Last, we also have bigger but more far away visions for our publishing feature. For example, we want to support sharing and cooperating. According to your access levels set by the owner, other users might be able to edit the graphs and they can cooperate together to make the graph better. And also by enabling anyone to edit and collaborate, we will have multiple connected graphs. Think about it just like a peer-to-peer version of Wikipedia, in which everyone can share their knowledge, but not in a central place. This is in line with our vision of Logseq as a always open and always owner first, privacy first product. Even though this vision is very big and there are still many things left to do, but I think as a community, we can make it together. So let's do it. Yeah, that's all for my presentation. And I think for now, let's just have a Q&A session for the first two presentations and any kind of questions you want to ask.
Hi, this is Sagar from Canada. Are you able to hear me?
Hi. Yeah.
Hey, hello. Yeah. Again, great work. Really excited about this project. I use Logseq every day. I have two giant graphs, one for my professional work, one for my personal work. Even right now, I'm taking notes on Logseq, so just love the app. I've used different apps in the past. I used Notion, I use Roam, and I migrated from Roam to Logseq recently. I think just in terms of my use cases, like some of the things that I would really love from my point of view, the way I use Logseq and the users like me use Logseq is just really good features around like just the pure text editing, right? So in 2021, there are a lot of these text editors which like you talked about, like undo and redo, things like this, right? I think those are just basic things which would be really important for users like me. So just nailing that feature set really well, that would be a huge value add for me. And the other thing, I mean, the reason why I use Logseq is I use other applications to create other forms, like for example writings and then blog posts and all of that. I use Logseq for organizing my thoughts. And so like some features like being able to drag and drop references, right? So from the sidebar, just drag it and it could transclude that in my note, or it could, if you press an option, similar to how Roam does it. I think those features are features that I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about my use cases and just mention, and this is what's really important to me, and just curious about what have you thought about these specific text editor features in the future.
Thanks for sharing, Sagar. That's really useful for us. Do you have any questions for us, or it's just a public sharing?
Yeah, I just had a question about these basic features around like text editing and dragging and dropping. Like, is that in the roadmap? Is that coming soon? Is that something that you'll be working on in the future? So that's the question that I have.
So just to answer your question, I think currently we are undergoing a major factory because as previously Logseq is just a private project from Tencent, and there's some tech debt left. So right now we are just focusing on the refactoring of the core data features. So that's exactly what you mentioned, because all this drag and drop on undo, redo, and basic editing, that's our focus right now. So, but I don't have a definite timeline for that. Maybe Tencent can share like when that refactoring will be finished. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why we need the bigger refactoring, because we have some, I built it for set project and for my own usage. So it's basically there are some very hacky, hacky parts. We wanted to make it more extensible. So and the current syntax for markdown, there are some work mode syntax like the block properties and like the headings as blocks, not just the unordered list as blocks. So we wanted to solve this problem first. And in our homepage, there are some there's a warning like it might be data corruptions, and we want to solve that issue first, because we believe that the data safety is the top priority, right? So for the we think we should have a initial prototype. So for the big refactoring in 1 month, and then we will do some tests and invite contributors and sponsors or people who'd like to join the test. We will build, I guess, a better version. So for everyone to test, and then I guess we can do up. We can switch to the refactor version in maybe like 2 or 3 months, and in the meanwhile we will solve those issues like undo and redo, and like what you asked before, like the auto drag and the basic text editing features. Actually, I just added those shortcuts. Like you can, when you add the beginning of a block, the left arrow, when you press in the left arrow, it will jump to the end block, the end of the previous block. So yeah, we will keep fixing those critical bugs, and we will slowly adding those features that people really need. Like when you hover in a link in a page reference, it will have a preview. So yeah, as everyone in the community, if they need those features, we might add them during the refactoring, but we will not introduce big features for maybe like 1 or 2 months. Yeah. Cool.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, cool. All right. So first off, thank you so much, guys. Like the whole team of Logseq has made like just this community amazing. And if in case you're familiar with my work, I've done videos on YouTube about Logseq. And yeah, super excited for the future. I've had a lot of people requesting, I've been planning making an online course for it in the future. And I'm super excited for Logseq to be a bit more stable in general, like Tiansun just said. But yeah, in general, I would like to ask, what is, like ord-mode, I believe is one of the best tools that we have available, but I also think it's not that accessible for beginners of note taking. So I've definitely started recommending an alternative to ord-mode, Logseq as an alternative to ord-mode. But I would like to know how much of Logseq is meant to be inspired on ord-mode, or how many features of ord-mode are meant to go into Logseq. That is kind of my question.
Yeah, thank you for your question, and I love your video.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yes, currently we have those features from work mode, like the task management and like the to-do keywords and the deadlines or recurring dates, and actually we're query DSL. The simple query. It's the idea is from a plugin called WorkQL. It's also for work mode, and in the future, I think we might not implement too many work mode plugins ourselves. We might use, we will expose the coming plugins API so that everyone can build those things like reference, work ref, and citations, and I think yeah, basically, in my opinion, markdown and work mode are mostly same. It's all the text markups, but because in Max, we have all those really awesome plugins. But markdown has a big ecosystem like VS Code, and especially recently like Foam and Dendron and Obsidian. So yeah, every committee can join together to make it much better. Yeah. So yes, I think we will keep drawing some ideas from not only work mode and from other editors and other apps. Yeah.
Thank you. Nice.
Cool. Thank you.
I do have a follow-up question if no one wants to chime in.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. I'll ask one more small thing, but feel free anyone to interrupt me if anyone needs to talk. So yeah, another thing that I created this feature request in the forum because it's something I really value, which is Vim mode. And I understand if it's not the priority right now, because definitely there needs to be an emphasis on making things super stable and very, like for things to just work, so that beginners, when they come to Logseq, they don't feel, frustrated about simple things and redo, like those things definitely need to be stable. But yeah, I mean, if anything, I would like to ask, like, is Vim mode something that could be implemented in the future? Would that be super hard? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it will be super hard because currently, yeah, we have this custom keep shortcuts. It's initial support, and to have I guess full-featured Vim support, we needed to have we needed to support more things, like you can quickly move between those blocks, and you can basically every operation should have a corresponding shortcut, right? And yeah, Weihua is working on improving the shortcuts, and personally, I'd like to have both Vim mode and the Emacs mode for for Logseq, right? And I guess it's not it might not take that long time, like 2 or 3 months. Yeah. Cool.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it is something that I do value, but I also understand that there's things that need to be, come first. And in general, like just the idea of shortcuts and being able to have a nice interface where beginners can customize it and that kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you for your answer.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the comment on the Vim mode. As a long-time Vim user, that would make me happy. But question that I have, like for Logseq, like what is the end goal for users? Are we talking people with like a limited technical ability? So for example, like when it's buggy right now, I'll just check the Git and stuff like that. But of course, you have end users who don't understand Git underwater. Are we targeting those, or are you mostly targeting people that would at least know Git?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think Logseq should be used as a paper, so everyone doesn't need to know about a Git or a closure or JavaScript. So to use it, you just need to write and connect. Basically, you don't need to know about those like page embeds or queries. All you need to know is just write your notes and have those page reference. And yeah, well, currently we don't have a really good user experience, and we'd like to put more efforts to improve that and the basic editing experience. And I'd like my daughter. She is 5 years old, but I'd like to maybe teach her some programming skills next year. So well, we might start with Logseq, and I'd like it to be at least usable by children. So so yeah, we definitely want to improve the user experience to make it more accessible to more people instead of just the programmers. Yeah.
That's nice here. I do think that focusing on the stability is great, because a user that can't figure something out right now might come back half a year later to figure out if it's more user friendly then. But if somebody loses their data, and I haven't lost any data yet, but sometimes it feels like it because you have to reindex and stuff like that. Yeah, then you lose someone for life, I think, because then they go like, yeah, I've been burned once, I'm not going to try that again. So stability is definitely something I'm also looking forward to, even though I can work my way around it currently.
Yeah, so currently if the data safety or state stability is a big issue if you use Logseq on multiple devices or on multiple tabs at the same time. If you are using the desktop app, I don't think there are really like data loss issues, because when you are using the desktop app, the only way to lose the data is undo redo because we have a bad implementation. I guess it's also related to the current implementation. You know, it's hard to make sure that the data in the database. So we have a local cache, the local database cache. So it uses data script. So we need to make sure that the data in the cache are corresponding to the underlying markdown or work mode, and it's really tricky to make sure it's working right. And but we have an idea, and we did some experiments, and we believe that after the refactoring, this issue will be completely resolved, and people will not, I guess, encounter those file corruption issues. And currently, if we want to make sure there's no data losing anymore, we can stick with just using Logseq with GitHub on one device, or we can use the desktop app and using like a bash script like the Git auto to automatically to commit with the version control. But yeah, data stability is the top priority, and if we are not taking to keep like lost the data, it's not I guess it's not taken to at all.
Thanks.
Yeah. So as a reminder, you don't need to ask questions specifically. If you have anything to share with us, you can also just speak. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and again, I'll just plus one the data reliability part. I think that is something that can really throw off new users. Like, I'm used to it. I know my way around it. I know that I can clear up my cache and get the diff page away. The one question that I had for you all, for example, I'm a very heavy user of Logseq. How can we as users, help? What are things that we can help you with? I know there's, the community and the software development is happening there. What are some other areas where, other users of Logseq can help you drive this project forward?
Pardon me, I don't
So let me answer this question. Yeah. So
Sure.
The last question is how can users of Logseq, what can users of Logseq do to help move this project forward as a community? So I'm just gonna speaking of my own experience. So I'm a new Logseq team member. At the same time, I'm a new Logseq user myself. Previously, I used Notion to write notes, but I'm not that much a heavy user. So I think as a open source community and a just any kind of product community, the first thing is just by using Logseq and sharing the experience, reporting the issues, and give suggestions. Just by using this project is very helpful for us to, is very helpful. And the second, what we want, the most helpful thing a user can do, I think, is to give specific improvement suggestions with specific use cases for us, in the Discord or in any social platforms, to let us know what we can do to improve the experience. For example, the files corruption issues, the basic editing user experience issues. Just tell us, just by telling us these kind of specific cases is very helpful. And also I'm a front-end developer myself, but in the open source project wise, Logseq is kind of it has a kind of an ordinary tech stack. It uses ClojureScript, which is somewhat a programming language with not many users nowadays, and its architecture is not that usual also because it's local first and it uses a in-memory database. So for open source contributors to contribute to Logseq, we will do more work to make it more accessible. For example, we're going to write more documentations and more explanations on how to, contribute to the open source project. Yeah, that are some areas I think users can do to improve the project.
I have another question about it's something that, especially making videos about it, I always want to make sure I'm pronouncing the name right. And I know that's something that, there's been a lot of dispute, and especially when we type, is not a problem. But because I say the word so much in my videos, yeah, I would like just to know, especially Tiansen, what do you think? Like Logseq, which is what I've been saying, or Logseq?
Yeah, personally, I just pronounce it as Logseq because yeah, people ask the same question always because I'm not a native English speaker, and the seq is coming from the sequence. I guess the function. So yeah.
Nice. So Logseq, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Logseq.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Hello, teams. Hello. Is it okay if I ask now? Hello, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
go ahead.
You can. Hi, this is my name is Jurie Lois from Tremax. I still be following Rome, following Logseq, and I'm mystified. I still don't understand the technical similarities, or I understand that both of them seem to looks from the outside looks like it's based on data script or equivalent of. So I would like to know how much is the data model, the underlying data model is common or shared or compatible. So I'm really don't, because I believe in local first. Okay, so I appreciate that, but I really would like some information about how these two relate and whatever. I obviously would like to make our work compatible with both, but I need to know what is really going underneath. If you could elaborate on that, please.
Okay, so just to restate your question, so you want to know the underlying data model, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, currently.
And how it's related. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
You go ahead. You go ahead. Yeah.
And is it the same or different from Rome's model? That's what I would like to know, because you also talk about blocks. Rome talks about blocks. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the blocks concept is a really dodgy concept. So if you have the same dodgy concept, I assume they are the same, because if it was perfection, it would be easy to discover and use the same. But if you have a concept which is not quite right, then I don't think you can have two of them. So I really would like that clarification. Yes, please.
Good. Thank you for the question. And currently, the implementation, we have some differences between Rome and the Logseq. So in Rome, it's basically like the only data model is block. Right? The page is just a special block. It has a I guess like a block title or block name. I don't clearly remember the attribute name. So in Logseq, there are pages and blocks. So each file is a page in the current implementation. But in our refactoring, we'd like to change that. So everything will be a block. A page will be a block. The future annotation will be a block. So a PDF or a file or just an image, this will be all just a block so that it can be easier for extensions, especially.
So
yeah.
if I understand you correctly, you may have started from the same idea of pages and blocks, but you actually went on and tried to clarify that very question of the relationship between box and package, and you by now you got your own model or something diverging from Rome. Is that correct summary?
Yeah, yeah, I guess you are right. So currently the implementation, the data model is not perfect. So yeah, it has the issues like it's hard for extensibility because we think that the future plugins can use the block properties for extensibilities because, for example, when we need to add SRS support, or when we need to add some metadata, so the plugin wanted to add some metadata to the block, so they will add their own. And if we separate the pages and the blocks and the new new data models, it's very hard for those plugins to extend the features. I'm not sure whether I answered your question.
No, it did clarify something. Thank you very much. Because the reason I asked, because Treyamax, we have a kind of mind graph model, which is, I believe, is conceptually clear. And I want to know if you would be interested in finding out about it and possibly because I want to integrate these things. So at some point, perhaps we should discuss that. But I really find the very concept of the block, I didn't know yours, but I did read about Rome, and I think it's a kludge. I really believe that, it's not quite right. I don't know, from your account, I hear the same, because that's why you need the refactor, if you, does that relate to each other?
Pardon me, I don't
know what I mean. That some I just surmise, and you can correct me or say that it's different. I assume that the refactor is needed because these concepts are not quite right. So it's not just a technical question. Is that right? That's what I'm trying to say. Ask. Yeah. So there are some. Okay.
So you think that there are other new concepts, or?
No, what I'm saying that I found from the outside, I haven't really studied how the blocks is actually articulated in code and whatever. But from the outside, my impression, somebody who's been working in this field for a long time, I find the very concept of a block confusing or confused in itself.
Cool. I got your question. Yes, I don't think that those things are completely new things, especially actually I don't care whether it's called the block or RAM, RAM nodes. Everything is a RAM in Rome or Essence or Logseq, everything will be a block. This is just a block is corresponding to a header or unordered list atom. So it's the atomic level, right? Just like in TiddlyWiki, right? In TiddlyWiki, everything is a tiddler, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but it depends how you actually structure it inside to facilitate the interaction between whatever you call it. That's the point.
Yeah. So I don't think we are inventing some new concepts or new data models or new things. So what Logseq does is just composing those ideas and trying to provide a polished UI or polished UX to make it more easy or accessible to like more users. And yeah, we share this local first and privacy first with like a TED-Wiki and some, you know, some, I guess there are a lot existing notes apps, and we don't think Logseq will replace or make them bad or make them worse. We just provide, I guess, another choice. So, even some people wanted to have a more easier to use like app which has some features from work mode, because yeah, they are currently they have to use markdown to collaborate with other people, but they still can enjoy work mode. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. You have to clarify some stuff. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was related to the previous question, I guess. Are there any of your goals that are very different from Rome in terms of the syntax and style? But I know it's helpful because if people are familiar with the more common form of, you know, similar application, that people can work the same way, but also maybe there are things that are different. Related to that, like documentation and how do you show the differences? I guess we could like specifically document what's different and what's eventually going to be the same, or what's definitely different permanently.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for this quite interesting question because many people are interested at that. So yeah, we share a lot of things with Roman research and with Essence, and I guess Dandelion or FOMO, all those new note app tools. So every app can be used to build like knowledge managed tool, right? To build a knowledge garden or digital gardens. And what we are trying to build some different things. I just showed them in the slide in the presentation. Is that we value the local first, and we'd like to make everyone to build their own workflow instead of, you know, we only have one way to do this thing, and we don't have other choice to do to make it really productive for self-usage. And for the long-term goal, I guess we share with Rome, and we share with Essence, and any other platforms, including Obsidian tool, is to make the knowledge sharing and the management more easier, and to make it that all the tools can work together. So you don't have to use one tool for everything. In my opinion, those two apps should be providing easy ways to export and transform data from those app to another app, so users doesn't need to be locked in this particular app. Yeah.
So quick question about, you know, like how Logseq looks in terms of CSS and the themes. I mean, I've seen a lot of really good themes by, you know, tons of people I can already spot in here, and it's really good to see, you know, how we can customize Logseq to look more to our appealing, because for me, I think being able to customize it to look so that it looks like an aesthetic place to work in is very important. So for instance, I also make content on Obsidian, and Obsidian has these amazing community themes, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. So yeah, I would like to know how much of that could be implemented in Logseq in terms of like a community theme that is easy for beginners to install, because right now I posted my theme in, you know, like just in GitHub, and people just kind of have to do it if they know, but a lot of people just don't know GitHub. So like, yeah, that idea of how possible would it be to implement community themes?
Yeah, currently it's quite boring. You have to replace the current custom CSS. Yeah. So Charlie is working on the plugins API, and we have a demo. We haven't shown it to everyone, but it has a plugin list, and everyone can use the new API to publish their themes or plugins, and there's like a theme chooser, so you can switch between those themes, and you know, Carney box. I'm not sure. So Philip creates a lot of cool CSS modules, right? We all love that.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like a Kanban and a matrix, right? And we'd like to support those CSS modules too. So you can click the checkbox, and so for example, you can have a custom theme. In the meanwhile, you can have those you can load those custom modules. So yeah, we'd like to, in the future, we definitely want to have a plugins market, or like a theme market. We are not we don't think too much about to charge the money or the business thing, or we want to make it more easier to use for new users.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, because in general, like you'd be surprised about how many people just don't even know what GitHub is, and they just are super confused. And if there's no easy button, like they just can't do it. So I appreciate your answer, because I think that'd be really beneficial for Logseq. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, we have about like near 7,000 testing users so far. So I guess there are more than half users are developers or users or designers. So those people are more familiar with GitHub. But we do have many users that they don't know about Git or GitHub before. They come to Logseq, and they have to learn Git. You know, some users even complain to me like, "Oh, why should I need to care about Git? I just want to log my notes." but now they tell me that, okay, and now I have version control, and I can't live with that anymore. Yeah.
Right. Sorry, did I hear right? 7,000 users? Is that right? 7,000?
Yeah. Testing users. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice. Thank you so much.
So hello.
Hello.
And June, I just joined the Logseq community recently, and I found this app is pretty useful, and it's really helpful and helped me a lot. But I was thinking to make this app or this very useful to sustainable. Are you planning to charge people? I would like personally to pay for that. Yeah.
Yes. Firstly, thank you for the question, and I think everyone is interested in this question because people, yeah. So or community members even propose this question in the forum, and everyone give us the suggestions. Yeah, that's super cool, and thank you everyone. So yes, we started Logseq last year, and so basically in October last year we started to form a team, because myself I can't answer all the questions, and there are a lot of feature requests. I guess we already have more than 200 if we combine those requests from the the forum, and we have a Chinese forum too. So yes, we needed to find a way to make this the team sustainable. And so in the first, we have some seed investments from my my ex-boss and some friends. So we can, as a team, we can keep working on this project like in 8 months. And in the meanwhile, you know, open source is hard if you just want to build the team and you know, just rely on the donations, because I hope it will be better for the next project or for next developers, but it doesn't work well currently. So yeah, we needed to have a business plan, and but in the meanwhile, my initial goal for Logseq is to make it be more accessible to everyone. So we not like to charge, you know, like $6 or $10 every month, so that you can use those page embeds or block embeds or those local features. So yeah, we'd like to make it mostly free for local only features like desktop apps and local and the web app usage. So if you use the Logseq's storage, or we will have our own storage later, like the end-to-end encryption, and we will provide some free, so some limited storage for free usage, so that everyone can give it a try. We might provide this as freely when beta testing. So yes, we will have this subscription plan later once Logseq is more mature, more stable. Yeah, yes, and we do have some investments or institutions came to us and would like to give us some money, and that they told me that we can support you to develop this tool, and you can keep open sourcing it, but we still think that it's not the right time to take a lot of investments currently, and we'd like to focus on development and to make this tool more stable first.
Thanks. What you've been doing is very interesting and great. Hope you can make it. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hi. So I have a question about feature.
I put a question in the chat.
For the,
sorry, I'm checking. Okay.
So we had a desktop version and a web version right now. I wonder, is the plan to eventually have both feature compatible, including the data storage, and most important is the extension?
Yeah, we'd like to make it basically same for both the web app and the desktop app. The future mobile apps certainly can't support all the features because it's hard to build those with native development, like in React Native or in Kotlin or Swift. So yes, we'd like to make it basically similar for both the web app and the desktop app. There are definitely some minor difference. Like currently, the desktop app might be a bit faster. In the future, it will be, I guess it will be more faster because we have more choice. So we can use native database. We can use we don't have to stick to use JavaScript implementations. Yeah.
Yeah, we always bet on the web. Yeah, we believe that the web is most accessible and most developer-friendly platform. But as Tianson have said, there are some platform limitations. Some things in web you just can't do. For example, to access randomly the file systems, except for the latest Chrome that you can access a native file system. But we try our best to provide feature compatibilities for different kind of platforms. Yeah.
Okay, right.
I don't want to answer the question on the exchange across all network syncing tools. Yeah. So I'd like to make it more clear. Is that related to the data format?
Sorry, no, it's not just question of data. Rome, I don't know how it's doing it. They may have an API by now. I don't know. They did talk about there will be an API where you could get a bit of graph there, and it shouldn't be too difficult to actually translate it into whatever Logseq uses and vice versa. So I'm just interested in principle whether you would like to see something like that really happening. That was my question. Okay, I'm not saying whether you should be doing it right now. I want to ask the value question, is that something in your vision? Because I think with the idea of local first, which I'm 100% behind, is a great thing. But at the same time, you do not want these network thing sort of closed in silos. So just because I use this one, I cannot really share it with somebody who happens to like another one. That's what I'm asking.
Cool. Yeah. So, Julian is working on the markdown exports, standard markdown exports, and there's some work on the work mode exports too. And currently, Logseq provides 3 export mode, I guess, like HTML export for publishing, and the EDN export for those developers who would like to, import their data into Neo4j or Elasticsearch.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So they can use this data, this graph to analyze or to build to make more insights about the data, and we have plans for OGML, both import and export, and JSON, and those is just for the local export or local import, or from currently it supports importing from Rome Research, and we will.
You support import from Rome Research.
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
right? I didn't know that. That's great. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we support importing from Rome Research, and we will support exporting back to Rome Research too. And yeah, we'd like our future plugins which can import from Obsidian, and we'd like to export.
Okay, so you're working on that. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. I wasn't clear about that. Yeah, thank you very much. That's great. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, by the way, since we will release, we will develop our own encryption storage, and yeah, we will have our API when it's ready, so that it might provide new ways for integration, data integration.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Fission may help you in that. Please check it out, because it actually gives you a web native encrypted file system. That's what it does. Have you looked at that?
I talked with Fission's founder.
Oh, you did. Okay, that's fine. So because that really will help things. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that TiddlyWiki already has been supported
Yeah.
on Philips.
Okay. Okay. So that's good. That's good. Yes. 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 Yes.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. I need to go in a minute. Yeah. Okay, I got to go. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hey, let me check.
So yeah, they were asking about like the mobile version, how it's in the roadmap. Would it be possible some way like to use Dropbox as a source of files in mobile? Is that something that is currently possible, or right now, there's a limitation of how the browser works in mobile that wouldn't allow that? Do you know?
Yeah, I think it's not possible for the mobile web browser to access the native file system. And in order to integrate it with Dropbox or any kind of sync services, you need to have access to the file system. But and as long as we have a native version, be it a written in the native platforms or a React Native or any kind of other native wrappers, we have the access to the native file systems. It will be possible. It will be easy to integrate with Dropbox or any kind of other kind of syncing services. Yeah.
Perfect. No, that's good to know. And like Tiansun was saying, like if there could be like a syncing solution in the future of Logseq, that would be even better. And I think that's a great way to make a business model that works. Because yeah, like even for the Obsidian Sync solution, because now they're releasing the mobile app, like Obsidian Sync is a perfect solution, and it's always good for people to be able to still use things like Dropbox. But I think like selling a membership to a syncing solution in mobile is just a great idea. But yeah, thank you for the answer.
Yeah, great question. I think we will support the existing like a Dropbox or Google Drive integration first, and do our own storage later, because it's faster to develop, and users can already use it to sync their notes instead of how to waiting for our own storage, and it's more expensive. So we want it to be used by more users.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And of course, I understand that the syncing solution in Logseq is going to be complicated and it's going to take more time. But no, it's good to know that something like Dropbox could work. Thank you.
So yeah, Phillips asked whether there's any work on a mobile version. So currently it's planned, but there's no one working on it currently, because we'd like to finish the refactoring first, and to have the plugins API ready first, and then we will start working on the mobile version. And I don't think it will take too much time to build the mobile version, because if we are going to use React Native, and the current code can be shared, so it might take like 1 month or 2 months to have this mobile apps. Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear the last part. How long did you say it could maybe take? I just didn't hear it, sorry.
It might take us 1 month or 2 months to build the app, but it's certainly because currently we are not working on that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Okay, so anyone wants to share your own workflow, or how do you use Logseq?
No, that's a great question. I mean, if I can share, there's, like there's a lot of interesting things about like being able to use Markdown as, you know, the driving force to use these files, because like we talked previously, ord-mode is amazing, but the fact that it's restricted to people that can use Emacs, it makes it complicated for beginners, right? So that's the first thing I love about Logseq, that you can use Markdown, but also with some of the power of ord-mode. So in general, what I've been doing is in Obsidian, I have like all my files, I have all my notes, and then inside one of the subfolders of all my Markdown files, I have one that is just dedicated for Logseq, and I open Logseq from there, meaning that now I can manipulate it from either Obsidian or Logseq, you know, just Logseq itself, which I really, really like. And I saw there was like some discussion in the forum about how to, you know, set the configuration so that the file name, you know, instead of having to put the title in the metadata, it could be by the file name. And if anything, I wanted to know, like, is there any limitations about that process of just like having the file name become the title and not have to use the title? Is that something that can work in a large number of you know, like files?
Yeah, we choose the title attribute as the page name instead of the file name, because it's more easier for later refactoring. For example, when we need to change the page's title or change the page's name, we don't have to rename the file. But currently, yeah, our implementation does rename the file too. And you know, on different systems, especially on Windows system, there are some limitations on, you know, those characters can't be included in the path. Yeah, so if we use the title in the front matter, we don't have this issue. And I did some tests with the markdowns, like 10,000 markdown files, I guess, and it basically work. The search can be a little slow, and the graph is very slow to load because it can take like 17 seconds, because the currently we are using the one JavaScript library, which is based on Canvas, and it doesn't have really good performance on web. And we might switch to the same library as Obsidian used, like Pixie. I guess I don't remember the name. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I definitely seen a lot of Obsidian users, particularly starting to use a lot of Logseq, and you know, that's like people I recommend Logseq to, like Obsidian users. So in general, like if in the future it would be possible for the file name to become, you know, like the actual name of the node, that alone would just make it so much more compatible with Obsidian, because I've definitely seen a lot of people having issues and they just don't know how to open their like Obsidian nodes in Logseq, which is totally possible. Like it's just Markdown. It's just a matter of adding the title. But again, like for beginners, those things become so complicated. And I understand it's like a lot of technical things involving that. But yeah, no, that is good to know that it works. It's just like, you know, if in the future it could maybe move towards that idea of file name being that node name, that would make me happy. Really happy. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. We'd like to provide some templates. So for example, if you are importing Obsidian what, so you'd like to importing. Sorry, can you guys hear me? Because
yes,
okay,
yes.
Okay, I thought my network lost. So if you'd like to import in a folder from Obsidian, we might have a template like what you said. Use the page name, or you use the file name as the title by default. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. No, that's good to know. Thank you.
Cool. And I think Logseq will play very well with Obsidian after refactoring, because we will some changes we are going to make is firstly there will be unordered list for markdown. So it's not headings anymore. But yes, you can definitely use headings. And another thing is that the exporting nodes, the markdown will not including those those properties, those like ord-mode properties, block properties. It's not in markdown file anymore. It might be stored in a JSON. And the last thing is that we might switch to the ID syntax like obviously and the form, because people are familiar with markdown, mostly are using form and obviously. We don't want to be the bad guy, you know. Make it harder for integration. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, perfect. No, yeah, and yeah, like it's just that idea that markdown, even though I believe ord-mode is a better file system, like markdown is way more accessible. So I highly encourage, you know, developing markdown to make it even easier for beginners. So yeah, it's good to know that the refactoring is going to help on that. So thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Or anyone wants to share something with us?
Can I ask you a question, please? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Right, just to start off with, I'm that kind of black spot on a white canvas to you a lot because I know nothing about coding. I'm that worst case scenario, but I can use your system. And I think partly the forum's brilliant for that because I'm forced to learn stuff to make things work and I love it. So I kind of like this kind of curious exploration. But your tool, like a Sibian, I've come to them because I can see a different use for them in the work I do, and I do kind of community-based work. So what I'm fascinated, so I'm going to take you slightly off angle here, back to something you talked about before about the publishing. And could you give me a bit more detail about your plans around the multiple connected graphs? It's just blown my head with an idea I want to do, and you've got something that makes me think I could do that if we have multiple connected graphs. So can you just give me a bit more? I'm fascinated with it.
Yeah, thank you for the interesting question. So currently, the initial, the near plan is that Logseq can open multiple graphs, local graphs. So you can reference another graph in the current graph, and you can connect those graphs locally. But in the future, we'd like to, you know, the details might be changed, but the goal is to make the publishing graphs can be connected. So there are different ways. The first way is through like IPFS or decentralized storage, but yeah, but it might need some central server which only provides like API queries. So for example, if you publish your graph on your website, and I have my graph on my website, and we both reference to a same page, right? And for example, it's like a Meetup or Logseq, and yeah, and users can choose to publish their open pages, their public pages to a central server. It doesn't mean has to be Logseq's own server. It can be self-hosted or your company. So yeah, and the central server can provide some APIs, and in your exported in your own website, Logseq can be running on your own website, and it will have the power to query for the similar page or pages referenced to this page, and show them as a pop-up or just like a linked reference. It doesn't have to be those references to to your own nodes. It can be from every graph, every public graph, and it can even from those like those things from the existing knowledge, like I don't know any paper or any articles. Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of blowing my head a bit, because I'm thinking that's really painting a picture of this vision I've got in my head. So as a non-techie person, let me try and it's kind of summarize what I think you're saying there. So you've got a published graph in space. I've got a published graph in space, but we connect on a, say, single page connects us together. If I'm traveling through my graph and come to that page, can I then just naturally travel through into your graph and see the stuff you've published from that central spot, like a meeting place? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. What I imagine is that you don't have to leave your own website to browse the whole universe.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. I'm excited. So now I'm going to ask you this horrible question about when's that coming, which I know that could be a long time away. I don't know, but I'm excited. I'm excited about that, because for my long-term vision, that fits something I didn't think would be possible to do. So I'm just amazed with that. What's your timeline for that? Obviously, I know there's a lot more to do before that.
Yeah, we currently we have the publishing, so everyone can already publish their notes to their website. And to make it working, we need to have a central server. It doesn't have to be hosted by Logseq, and but we do need to provide the storage and to provide the searching functionalities, and you know, to make it really working, the self-hosted Logseq app on your website, it might need to support write to. It currently is read-only mode, but I guess it's optional. So it can be. So if for example, when you have a newsletter like a Substack, and you want your readers to come to your website and they can leave comments and they can write different versions for the blogs, right? And I think it will not be too long to build the app that can query data from a central server and can jump to another page, because yeah, if on your website and you jump to the page and the page has some link reference to my graph, and if my public graph are on this central server, it only needed to fetch the data and transfer those to your website. It doesn't need to jump to my graph, right? It doesn't need to jump to my website.
Yeah. So you say in the place that the space that you visit, and you pull in that stuff through the connections. That's genius to me. That's blown my head. That's like genius level stuff. I couldn't even begin to think that would have been possible. Brilliant. That's brilliant. Whenever that comes, I'm sold. I've got something that I want to do with that. So I'm fascinated. Please keep me updated with that. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Related to that last question, it sounds really cool. I agree. Have you heard of the AFS, the Andrews file system?
IPFS, right?
No, AFS. This is an older system. It was like built by IBM, related to NFS, but it was used a lot for academic research.
Okay.
Anyway,
I don't know about AFS. Yeah.
It was allowing basically connections of different file systems in a similar way to what you're describing for connections of knowledge graphs. I was wondering, maybe you could do the knowledge graph connections in a way that people could have their own say their own domain for the knowledge graph, and you could allow hosting there so that if they would have some choice about hosting, especially if you had a larger organization, they might want to control their own publishing, but they would be able to keep the links intact if they moved it or something.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to, there are many storage ways, like what do you post, like AFS and IPFS. We don't want it to be Logseq central server has to be the only way to host the public graph. And personally, I believe the future is decentralized, and I'd like also I'd like to reduce the cost, the bandwidth cost for Logseq. I will check more about the AFS and those related links, but yeah, or what's
yeah, sorry, what I meant to say about that was AFS had a data model that would work possibly for this, but it isn't a good solution for storage. It had a similar way to link separately hosted systems by their domains, and then you could have centralized hosting, but then if people changed to their own hosting providers, the links could remain intact. That was all I was thinking.
Well, that's very, very interesting. So even though people changed their domains, it still can point to?
Just that they would have to have a domain to start with, or some sort of unique name, and then you would have hosting. You would basically offer a hosting service, but if they wanted to do it themselves, they could retain that unique name and host it themselves, basically. So domain names would make the most sense. That's the most well known, but you could use other, like decentralized domain names like HNS or whatever. I don't know what would make sense, but.
Yeah, that's very cool. Thank you for sharing this AFS and its domains this with us. I will definitely check this later. Yeah.
Cool. Another question regarding, like the way that ord-mode and markdown integrate. Like, I mean, I don't know what kind of magic you're doing to like add all this ord-mode functionality in markdown. It's just amazing. But I'd like to know how possible would it be to add, like, how in markdown you can add information at the top, such as the overview can be either folded or can be, so that every bullet point is either folded, or you can just get an overview, or in general, just adding those type of commands, because right now I'm aware that we can use tab to close, the main bullet points, but we cannot close the sub bullet points, right? So like, how much of that would it be possible still in markdown files? Is that something that would be possible to achieve?
You mean to collab basically?
To collapse. Yeah, to collapse everything. So like, with the tab is not just like the main ones that fold, but everything underneath it also folds. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can be can be tweaked a bit, because currently the tab is it mostly works like when you first press tab, it will collapse all the block contents, and in the next tab it will collapse all the second level blocks, all the blocks with the second level, like the two headings, and the next tab it will just expand all those collapsed blocks, and yeah, we can definitely change it that to make it working like the first tab can collapse all the blocks and then their contents.
Right.
Yeah, actually,
okay.
There are some options from work mode. So for some files, you can just specify the default collapse level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So is that something that would be possible to add something like a setting in a specific file where everything is folded by default?
Yeah, yeah. It
Nice.
has that. Yeah.
Perfect. So right now, I maybe wasn't aware of that, but if you tab several times, it folds more levels? Or it's just 2 tabs that we can do in Logseq right now?
There, yeah, you can do three tabs. So basically, yeah, basically the third press will back to the normal.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. No, that helps a lot. Thank you.
Any other questions? I guess so. I want to ask, where are you guys from? Because it's like midnight in China. So
Yeah, so I mean, if I can start on that, I am from Ecuador, South America. So,
Okay.
you know, like kind of far away from everything, but like, yeah, no, it's just amazing to see like how many countries Logseq is reaching. It's just inspiring. So yeah, carry on. Who else?
Hello.
I'm from the UK, from the north of England, where it always rains. So I'm really jealous of you, Sant, because I'm sure your country's really beautiful and hot all the time. Yeah, I'm just sat another afternoon and it's raining again and it's cold, and that's usually my day. And that's me.
Okay.
That's funny. I actually was living in the north of UK past year in Manchester. Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Where are you from? Which city?
Blackpool. Have you heard of a town called Blackpool? From Blackpool.
No.
Where are you
Where
from?
is it?
Oh,
so
Blackpool.
I am from Blackpool. Yes, Blackpool by the coast, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, very cold. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Someone else said Denmark, Copenhagen, Thomas. Yeah, nice.
Hey, I like your video, Santi.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, Thomas.
I started out with Notion about a year ago and really liked it, and then I moved on to Obsidian and I dabbled with that a bit, and then actually also Rome at the same time as Notion. But then I found Logseq, or Logseq as we've learned today it's called, and then I'm just using that now and I really like it actually. So
nice.
Obsidian for me is just sorry.
No, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, are you still using Obsidian or you moved everything to Logseq?
I don't use Obsidian that much. I've just felt it's hard to explain. I just really like the quick inlining of Logseq, just as in Rome, and I like the very easy backlink. I'm not so fond of the way that Obsidian shows the backlinks somehow.
I agree.
I prefer that in Rome or in Logseq stick. So
yeah, no, the fact that you can have it all in there. Yeah, nice. That's good to hear. Awesome.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so any other questions, or anyone else wanted to share something?
Oh, in general, if I can just ask a question just to understand, like, what are other people doing? Is anyone using like Logseq at the same time as other tools? Like personally, I use it with Obsidian and also with the Spacemacs, the version of Emacs that is based on Vim, and Vim, of course, in the terminal. But yeah, I'd be interested to know what you guys use in combination with Logseq.
I'm similar. I'm using Obsidian, and when I found Logseq, was for that reason. Was Obsidian is like really poor for that quick outlining. It's brilliant for that really long-term reflective kind of work and stuff like that. And I'm coming from the point of view more of a writer anyway, more of a kind of community work and writing story work. So Obsidian's beautiful for that. So I took up Logseq really because one, I could put a window in Obsidian and use it within that, which I like to do. And I wanted that quick outliner. And that's what I thought until Monday. And I started finding out it just took over my daily journal. It took over. So weirdly, it's crept in on me. And now I'm in this position of what am I using which tool for? You know, when you get into that weird kind of productivity thing that does your head in. And that's what I'm kind of doing this week, and is figuring out what I'm going to do, because I'm really finding I'm liking this tool far more than I thought I would do. Far more than what I thought I would do. And with everything that you said today, it gives me this hope that I'm going to end up in this position where I'm going to be wrestling about, you know, trying to find an excuse to use Obsidian in the future, I think, if I'm not careful. But I like it. I think even on that point of just integrating, I think it works really well. It's almost like a really amazing plugin for Obsidian if you just want to use it that way. But I find that I'm using it a lot more than I thought I would. And it is that ease of outlining. And I agree, the backlinking, I didn't know until I saw it, like just how better it is when it's all down, piled down like that, how quick it is for me to then put notes together. It feels hidden in Obsidian and clunky. So yeah, thumbs up for that one, definitely. It's definitely took over and messed my head up about what my workflow is in a good way. But yeah. How about yourself though? Are you finding using it more than you thought you would?
Me, Santi, or Tenson?
Well, anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely no.
Come across alongside.
Right. Yeah. No. Like you know, Thomas was saying how the backlinks just work a lot better. This is something you can. We're just saying, like, it's just the idea of having the backlinks right there do make the workflow a lot easier and a lot, you know, like less friction to just write. But no, yeah, for me, when I found Logseq, like, it was really out of curiosity of, you know, because when I decided I was going to teach these things and make videos on it, I was going to use Rome Research, but of course I didn't like the price. And I was just about to like, you know, commit and try to see if it was worth it for me. But then I found Obsidian, but I was always curious about the outlining experience of Rome, right? And then when I found, like you said, like, it's such a nice way to write and it's so easy to just start writing. So then for me, finding Logseq was really, you know, like an interesting way to get all of those benefits that even though in Obsidian you can do some bullet points and indentations, it's not really the same. Like Logseq is just such an amazing experience for that. So I do have that conflict where I use Obsidian for most things, but whenever I want to think clearly, I want to journal, I just want to outline things, I just go straight to Logseq, and yeah, I just close Obsidian for the rest of the day. But but no, I still use it both. Yeah. So I'm also confused, but I think, you know, and that's something that I think it's important for Logseq to develop, is that Obsidian is extremely friendly for beginners. It's just very stable, even though it's still in beta. So yeah, I mean, if Logseq can achieve that level of stability and, you know, making it super easy for beginners, it's definitely something that can just fully replace Obsidian. Right now, I still think they are both needed, at least in my workflow. Yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited about Logseq's future, and that's why I've been saying in my videos, and I want to definitely, you know, as Logseq gets more stable, potentially make an online course on it, and like I talked to Tiansen, but like, yeah, so no, I am super excited for what Logseq will offer in the future. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it seems that we already have 2 hours, and and I'm not sure any other questions, because I don't want to waste too many time on yours. So
someone commented right now in the comments, last question. Let's check that out.
Let me check. So the last questions, so we just tried it only. Or some person. Thank you. Yeah, we have some changes to the backend, you know, fixing some bugs, and I don't think we updated the backend jar recently, and some contributors have the access to the backend code themselves, and I guess that's why currently not too many people ask for the backend self-hosting feature. You know, people came to self-hosting most before the desktop app release, so people really wanted to you know, before when you upload the images, you will upload them to Logseq's CDN server, but we introduced the local file support on both web and the desktop later, and for the backend code, with the plan is to release the existing code at least before July, so it will be like 3 months or 4 months, and we are adding Docker file, so internally, and we will release that later, so that it can be very easy to deploy Logseq on your own server, the backend. Yeah. Okay. Very
Yeah,
good.
I have a question about. Yeah, my name is Philippe. I'm trying to use Logseq to write fiction, and I'm using Twine. I don't know if you know the program. Like, you can do a kind of a tree, like different blocks, and depending on what you do in one block, it will redirect you to something else. And I was wondering if it's in the future possible to use dynamic block properties, like for instance, you would maybe using the API or something like that, you could change the property which is linked to a block into something else. Say, for instance, you have a block called I don't know, this is the entrance, and you have the block property is like the number of life that you have in this specific block, which would be life. I have 3 lives left. And then in this block, you have 2 links. And then depending on which link you go to, you could like change the block property, which is which was set somewhere else. I don't know if it's very clear or not. Like, I'm trying to use that in another way.
Yeah. I don't think I quite got your question. So
okay.
I think he's saying a subgraph, like a graph structure within the graph, so that you could have points that connect, or vertices that connect to each other.
Yeah, kind of.
So you wanted the relationships from the block properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I might try to write that down in the forums and like put some examples and stuff, so it's maybe clearer for you to.
Yeah. Okay. That will be help.
Yeah. Okay.
Help. Yeah. And by the way, thank you very much for all the CSS modules and
you're welcome.
Wonderful themes.
Yeah, they are amazing. Thank you so much from the whole community. It's amazing, Philip.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna release a CSS mind map very soon. Now that we have the option to get the wide screen with a TW, I think it's very useful. Yeah, this opens up a lot of possibilities. So
nice. Yeah, oh, that'd be amazing. That is such a cool idea. Yeah, super excited for that. Thank you. All right.
Okay, so that's it. I guess. Okay, so
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tiensen, and like the whole team at Logseq. Like the fact that you guys are doing this just means that you really care about the community. You really care about what you're building. So yeah, thanks a lot. Like you guys are amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming and being helpful in the community. And having a great weekend.
See
See you.
See you.
See you.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye
See
bye.
you. Bye
Have
bye.
a good day.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.